Sometimes I just like to stop and relax a moment and reflect. Sometimes I like to think about
the grr-riper, the bright yellow plastic toy looking thingy that encourages you to put your hand directly over a spinning flesh-eating saw blade.
Oh, I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat over that one. Hey, in a recent video that Emma and I made about tools that I wasted money on, we highlighted the gripper as being one of those tools that I wished I hadn't purchased and that I had used the money for another tool. I never said that this was a waste of money for you in your shop, yet I caught a lot of heat from a lot of you because you thought I was talking badly about the gripper. It's a great tool. It's a great safety device. And if you can afford it, buy it, just like I did. Only I couldn't afford it so much when I bought it, but I thought it was the greatest thing around, and it was something I absolutely needed. I should have used that money for something else. Now, something you need to understand is all of us woodworkers, we build different types of projects. We have different types of tools in our shop, and each situation might be different than someone else. Here in my shop, the gripper doesn't get much use at all. And I'm happy to show you why that is. So here in my shop, I don't cut a lot of sheet goods. Oh, occasionally I do, but most of the time I'm working with dimensional lumber. And that means I'm taking boards like this, breaking it down into 2x2s, 2x3s, etc. Now with my table saw, I have a riving knife and I have these blade guards as well as a dust port on top. And I know a lot of your table saws don't have this. I also happen to know a lot of woodworkers out there remove their riving knife and they leave it off. And I know this because I watch your videos. I watch a lot of videos out there, and you see guys out there with a sheet of plywood or a board, and they're just running it through like this. Or they're pushing it through like this. And their fingers are precariously close to a spinning blade. Please note, in my shop, I never remove my riving knife, blade guard, and dust port unless I'm working with something extremely thick like this, because I need to be able to push it past, and the riving knife and the blade guard and the dust port would be in the way and it wouldn't allow me to do it. That's the only time I remove that setup. Now, because I have this setup the way it is, I can't use a gripper like this to be able to descend it through the blade and to make my cut. If I'm just trimming the edges off, sure, I could squeeze it in right here where I barely have enough room in order to try to send this board through the blade. And yes, it helps hold this down for that first cut. Anything beyond that first cut where I'm just trimming the edges off this board, this gripper becomes too thick. Now I can take off another 3/4 of an inch or so by taking this, take this device off also, and it gives me just a little bit more room. But again, if I'm working with, if I'm trying to make a 2x3 or 3.5 inch, 2x4 type material, by breaking down this 2x6, I can't use the gripper. It just doesn't fit. And I can't use this handy little groove here and straddle the blade because I already have my riving knife and blade guard and dust port right here. I'm not going to remove my riving knife, and I'm not going to remove this blade guard just so that I can use the gripper. When I'm working with boards like this, when I'm sending it through, I'm not letting my hand ride past that blade, whether I'm using the gripper or whether I'm doing it barehanded. It'll be rare that you see me take that kind of a risk where I'm sending my hand past the blade. The push stick, which a lot of you seem to not like, allows me to stay back and further away from that blade. My hand is a good 12 inches or so away from the blade at this point. Now look, I understand the concept of being able to push down on your wood and also have pressure up against the fence in order to shove a piece of material through the blade. I get that. I really do. It helps control the wood, keeps it from kicking back, keeps it from wanting to raise up, which has happened with me occasionally. But my riving knife and this blade guard helps prevent that also. The riving knife helps keep the wood separated so that it doesn't get pinched back here as it comes through, because when it pinches and it's pinching the blade, that's when the blade tends to grab the wood, and that's when you have your kickbacks and it comes flying back at you. My riving knife helps prevent that. Plus, because I have my dust port and this blade guard on here all the time, it keeps the wood from being able to flip back up in this direction. Plus, you've seen me use it. You see me using feather boards, which I really like, and I have this new one here by Jessam that I recently did a video on. It's attached here, and this is also providing pressure up against the wood, keeping it tight up against the fence, which helps to control wood movement. So because of this setup, the gripper doesn't get used very much at all. And I'm not going to remove my riving knife in order to use a gripper that causes me to keep my hands precariously close to the blade or right over the top of the blade in the event that something catastrophic does happen. I'm not comfortable with that. I'd rather stay completely away from the blade. These blade guards right here helps me do that, because when I'm pushing wood through, I know I shouldn't go past this blade guard. I will never go up underneath this blade guard with my hand. I try not to put my hands past the front of this blade guard right here, because I know I'm staying away from that blade. In the rare instance when I am cutting something really thick and my riving knife is removed, at least then I know when I'm shoving this through that I do have distance between the blade and the top up here, and that's when you will see me controlling the board a lot more so, because I don't have a riving knife and I don't have a blade guard and I don't have those safety precautions. So that's when you will see me pressing down on this wood, keeping it nice and firm, trying to keep it from kicking back. Also, if you notice in my videos, I don't stand right here where I am now. I've got the camera positioned in a way so you can see everything a little better from this angle. However, as much as possible, when I'm sending the board through, I'm standing off to the side. It causes a little imbalance because I'm standing to the side and I'm pushing a board through the blade. But if there were to be a kickback or something, I'm not standing right here in front of it like I see a lot of people doing, shoving their stuff through their blade. I'm not going to do it that way. I always try to stand off to the side. Even if I'm not completely out of the way, at least if nothing else, I'm not going to take full center force. It's going to hit me on the side and deflect and still cause a whole lot of damage and pain and grief. So when you're using your table saw, as a safety tip, always try to stay to the side. When I'm working with a piece of plywood and I'm shoving it through, guess what? I'm still over here to the side, because that allows me to put pressure this way against the fence and it allows me to feed it this way through the blade. So I'm still sitting over here to the side the best I can. I've never seen a piece of plywood go flying, but presumably if it's not a full sheet and it's smaller, then yeah, I would imagine that can actually cause a kickback as well, and at that point I may get hit because it's just a large bulky piece that I'm working with. So it could happen, but the chances are reduced as long as I keep my riving knife and blade guard attached all the time, which I do. So I hope that clarifies a little bit why I feel that spending money on the gripper at the time was not the best use of my money. I'm not saying it's a waste of money for you or for anyone else, and I'm not saying it's a bad product. It's actually a great product. I like it a lot. I just rarely need it. Hey, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I'll still respect the comments that you leave below as long as they're respectful and not mean and hateful. Because those type of comments, I'll just go ahead and remove and boot people from the channel. There's a lot of trolls out there that do nothing but all day long just go out and try to spread hate, and there's just no place for that or anything political in nature on this channel. If you like this video, please give me those thumbs up. If you're new here, I'd encourage you to subscribe and go check out that other video in which I started receiving all the hate mail about the gripper. If you absolutely like the gripper, and I know a lot of you do, and you just got to have one, there will be links in the description below where you can click on that and go check it out for pricing and go ahead and make a purchase. And if you make a purchase, that supports this channel just a little bit, and that's appreciated. Hey, I'll go ahead and throw up a couple other additional videos right here you may enjoy. And if you click on those, I'll go ahead and see you over on the other side. Hey, thanks for watching.